Welcome to the deep dive. We got some really interesting sources from a listener this time detailing a police encounter down in Texas.
Yeah, it seems to cover a lot of ground.
It does. Starts with a traffic stop, then escalates pretty quickly into a high-speed chase, a PIT maneuver.
Which is always controversial.
Definitely. And potential felony evading arrest charges, plus some, concerns raised about evidence handling later on.
So, quite the legal tangle.
Exactly. So our mission today is to unpack all these legal threads, see what the potential ramifications are.
It's a great case study, really.
Yeah.
It shows how basic constitutional rights meet police procedure on the street, and pursuits add a whole other layer of danger and complexity, especially in Texas law.
Okay, so let's start right at the beginning with that initial traffic stop. The sources mention the Fourth Amendment, Terry v. Ohio, and specifically a Texas case, Brown v. Texas. Why is that first interaction so fundamental?
Well, the Fourth Amendment is your protection against unreasonable searches and seizures, and that includes stops. Terry v. Ohio set the standard for brief investigatory stops.
The reasonable suspicion standard.
Exactly. But it can't just be a hunch. Police need specific and articulable facts suggesting criminal activity is afoot. And Brown v. Texas really hammered this home.
What happened in Brown?
Basically, police stopped someone just for being in a high-crime area and looking, suspicious to them. The Supreme Court said that's not enough. You need something objective linking that specific individual to a potential crime.
So presence alone isn't sufficient?
Not at all. So for the situation in these sources, the critical question is, what specific facts did the officer observe before initiating that stop? If they can't point to anything solid,
then the whole thing starts on shaky legal ground.
Precisely. That initial justification, or lack thereof, affects everything that comes after.
Right, which leads directly into the next point from the sources. The Texas Evading Arrest Statute. That's Penal Code Section 38.04. What does the prosecution need to show to make that charge stick?
Okay, so for evading arrest or detention under 38.04, they have to prove several things. 1, the person intentionally fled. 2, they knew the person trying to detain them was a peace officer. And 3, and this is crucial, the officer must have been attempting a lawful arrest or detention at the time.
So it circles back to that initial stop again.
Absolutely. If that initial stop wasn't based on reasonable suspicion, as required by Terry and Brown, then the attempt to detain wasn't lawful. That can be a complete defense to the evading charge.
And the penalties can be serious, right? Especially with a vehicle involved.
Yes, it can range from a misdemeanor up to a felony, particularly if a vehicle is used during the flight or if the person has prior convictions for evading. There's another case, Calden v. State, that deals with how those priors have to be proven properly.
So challenging the legality of the stop is a key defense strategy.
It's often the primary one.
Okay. Now, the pursuit itself ended dramatically, according to the sources, with a PIT maneuver.
The precision immobilization technique.
Right, where the police car bumps the fleeing car to force a spin out. How do courts analyze whether using a PIT maneuver is legal? The sources mention excessive force under the Fourth Amendment, citing Graham v. Connor and Scott v. Harris.
This is where force analysis comes in. Graham v. Connor established the objective reasonableness standard for all uses of force by police. You look at it from the perspective of a reasonable officer on the scene, considering the severity of the crime, the threat posed, and whether the suspect is actively resisting.
Not with 20/20 hindsight.
Correct. Then Scott v. Harris applied this directly to a vehicle pursuit that ended with the police ramming the fleeing car. The Supreme Court found the officer's actions reasonable in that specific case, mainly because the driver's high-speed, reckless driving posed an immediate severe threat to public safety, and it was caught on video.
So Scott doesn't mean PITs are always okay.
Definitely not. It's not a blank check. It emphasizes balancing the level of threat posed by the fleeing driver against the potential danger of the force used in this case, the PIT. It's very fact-dependent. Was the pursuit truly dangerous? What was the original reason for the stop? All that matters.
So the justification hinges heavily on the specific dangers created during the pursuit itself?
Yes, the immediacy and severity of the threat are key factors.
Okay, one last area the sources touch on. Evidence integrity. They mention Texas Penal Code 37.09, tampering with evidence, and the chain of custody. Why is this important here?
Evidence integrity is paramount. Section 37.09 makes it a serious felony in Texas to alter, destroy, or conceal any evidence if you intend to mess up an investigation or legal proceeding. And that applies to anyone.
Not just the suspect.
Correct. And the chain of custody is basically the logbook for evidence. It tracks who had it, when, and where, from the moment it's collected until it gets to court.
To ensure it hasn't been tampered with.
Exactly. If there are gaps in that chain, or questions about how evidence was handled maybe by the officers involved in the pursuit or arrest, it can seriously undermine its reliability and potentially make it inadmissible in court.
Got it. So, pulling it all together from these sources, it sounds like the legality cascades, doesn't it? It all starts with whether that initial stop met the reasonable suspicion standard.
That's the foundation. If it's weak, the evading charge gets shaky, and even the justification for the pursuit and the force used, like the PIT, might be questioned more closely.
And that force, the PIT maneuver, has to be judged against that high bar of objective reasonableness based on the immediate threat. Plus, any hint of evidence tampering is a huge red flag.
Absolutely. It really highlights the sequence of legal thresholds involved.
Which leads to a final thought maybe for our listeners.
Yeah.
Given how dangerous high-speed chases are and all these complex legal points we've just walked through, what's the responsibility of law enforcement agencies to really push for de-escalation or to find other ways to apprehend someone, especially if the whole thing started over something relatively minor?
That's the critical question, isn't it? This kind of deep dive shows just how fast a seemingly routine interaction can spiral. It underscores why we constantly need to evaluate police tactics against individual rights and public safety.
Talk ain't theory, it's fire in the grip, truth in the fury. They pray for silence, I pray for steel. Kill 10.4, these are baptized. I rose from the rust where the real ones ride. No bags, no check, no EV priest. Just footprints scorched on a bed leash beast. Truth don't whisper in a boardroom booth. It screams in gears when you talk that truth. My frame ain't green, it's poster pop mean. Every well a sermon, every boat I've seen. They lied to the masses, so common clean. While I built more with a hillbilly dream. From Midwest mud to a silicone ghost. I'm the outlaw prophet that haunts your coast. The media fears me, the system blacklist. I go through codes with gasoline fists. You beg for grants, I be designed. I broke your mold with the rebel spine. Boom! Cold red, that talk vicious. Flip that switch, make the system fictitious. Fuck your ESG, your next zero pitch. I'd rather run laps in a flame-fed ditch. New boy talking like he's broke with it. Let's see if he flinch when the ghost hits it. I'm 10 years deep in the iron truth, while he fake flexing in a rented suit. Yeah, charge don't race, stats don't spit. With my foot on the floor, that's apocalypse lit. I don't build dreams, I weaponize them. While them in chrome, then motorize them. This ain't rap, this rebellion born. Garage raised God with a wrench and scorn. I'm the code breaker, blueprint bender. You the spreadsheet bitch with a greenwashed agenda. Bring that heat, I breathe in fire. Your truth expire, mind grip like pliers. Every admin, every boardroom pawn. You stall, I storm, you blink, I'm gone. Cut plate, while your lab rats chase a pre-planned fate. I flip real range from a 4-speed soul. You mind the earth just to lose control. You fear the man who builds alone with duct tape dreams and a piston throne. But this ain't hope, this gasoline rap is pushed on the mic with a concrete path. This safety code can't cage this ride. I built the storm, you try to hide. So next time you push your fake solution, just know I built the goddamn revolution. Unfuckwittable. Blueprint savage. Code breaker. Garage born. In the transmission. Diesel hunt last boom.
You know what's up. From the bottom of the motherfucker, we ain't never making it out of this bitch. Swear to God, that's what they told me. At least they ain't never expect this. But I kept to the pace and I told myself must finish this race. Even though I ain't never been in competition with another motherfucker, cause there ain't no point in these objective. It's simply just as pure as it get. I don't wanna see the world crumble to the ashes from which they don't want us to resurrect up in this. Life is full of opinions, people are full of a motherfucking judgment, knowing the fact that they been judging theyself wrong. Everybody got insecurities, everybody got flaws that they need to see. Honestly, that would help a lot. That's the key to the honesty. Brutality is forcefully. That's the fucked up part of it, G. I ain't even worried about a damn thing, cause I know me and mine gon' be good every time. What's up with this? Oh, everybody's always full of bullshit, man. That's why I don't play no games. I'd rather just spit these flames. I'd rather just deal with my own damn fucking flaws instead of just coming around and pretending like I got it all figured out. I try to make sure that they know I don't really understand, but I do though. You know what I mean though.